Welcome to this very special episode of the Next Level Show. Today we are at the UpRise and Shine conference, where we've brought together so many incredible speakers and people who are like really living on the leading edge of consciousness. And we are going to bring you some of those people. I'm going to interview them, get some of those nuggets. We've had a whole day full of speakers, and now we've got loads of music coming. We're going to have a big party. We've done the hard work, and now we're going to celebrate. And I've been playing. My wife's here, my daughter. We've had a great time. You can, if you're watching the video on our YouTube channel or on our social media, you can see I'm covered in chocolate, which is sugar-free vegan chocolate, by the way. So just so you know. One of the people I met today who did an amazing presentation is Sally, who runs a company called EcoV. That's eco-vie. And they make these incredible natural cleaning products and different things. But Sally also has built actual eco homes before.
Indeed.
So that's really exciting. Like with her own hands, actually built like serious stuff. So this is cool and exciting. And I just wanted to bring her on. So Sally, for people who are thinking maybe they want to live outside of the system, maybe the system's not really serving them anymore, what do you think some things are that they might want to look into more, that might be important for them?
Simplicity of life.
Do you know where the field is?
Look always to nature, because everything's in nature, be it your building material, be it your medication, be it your clothes, you know, everything's there for you. So simplifying your aspirations, it's not aspirations, but simplifying your what's the word for it?
Yes.
Desires? No?
For me, when we're building our eco village, this is a big project that we're working on right now. The dream is to be as self-sustaining as possible. So
it's absolutely possible.
that means growing our own vegan organic foods.
Yes.
Also making our own cleaning products, which I know is one of the things you teach, isn't it? You have courses and stuff to teach people how to do that. Making our own clothes, and it's knowledge that our ancestors had because they had no choice. Now we can go to Primark and things, which don't go to Primark. Very, very bad for me. And we've just become so detached from that, and because of convenience, do you think?
Well, no, I think it's that the system has sold us a lie that we can get that happy factor by buying various things that never really work, which means we keep on doing it, and then we become addicted to either a food item or purchasing. So actually going out and buying things is an addiction which is never really quite satisfied. So it's about really, you know, looking for things that you can do for yourself. So for example, microgreens is a really good thing to start with. You can buy your seeds and you can grow your own microgreens, and you can sprout your own beans and seeds, and this is like full of nutrients. It's very easy to do. You can add it to your salads along with maybe a little bit of foraging. That's another great thing to get to learn a bit about wild plants. Obviously be careful with them. So that they're quite simplistic things to start with.
Yeah, one of my friends called Juliet Bryant, who I've interviewed before, and she's on Kinda Sound Radio as well. She just goes into her local forest with her kids. The kids know what to pick. They make what's called forage stew or forage smoothies or forage soup. And so why do we go to grocery stores?
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good question. People are starting to wake up and actually ask this, because actually it's so disappointing. Stuff you buy from groceries, the vegetables that have got no flavour to them, they're 99% water, even the organic ones, unless you're buying it from a local grower. If you're buying, I don't know, it's been a really busy day, I'm going to go and buy some biscuits. Chances are you're really disappointed when you've eaten them, because actually you make your biscuits at home and they're so much nicer.
Oh, we had some amazing like raw cakes and everything here today.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I want to have in the eco village is a raw bakery.
Absolutely.
Because people think when they become vegan or they're gonna like be self-sustaining that they're gonna have to eat bland food, but I want to show people you can have the best, tastiest food, and you don't have to sacrifice flavour. In fact, you get better flavours, but another thing I think people worry about, Sally, and you probably experience this, is they think, oh, where am I going to find the time to make my own soap, and where am I going to find the time to grow my own oats and stuff? But one of the things that I want to share with people is, in a community, everybody has their own different roles. And so people like you, maybe who really like making cleaning products, you make the cleaning products. And someone else who maybe really likes cooking does the cooking. And someone who really likes farming does the farming. And we become so conditioned in our society to do things we don't actually enjoy.
Yeah, the other thing is that we've been so lied to. It actually doesn't take as long to make a cake as we think it does. The liquid soap, which is also known as Castile soap that I make, it goes on forever. So actually, you need hardly any time. You sacrifice a half day to make your base soap, and that'll last your household for probably a year. And that's it. And that will do everything. Everything. It will wash the dog. You can use it for your aphid control. And so, in fact, you're going to have more time on your hands than you can possibly imagine. It's just we've been sold such a lie.
I saw one of them in a health store. It's called like all-in-one soap or something.
And it really
and
is.
I looked, they had laundry detergent, shampoo, toothpaste. It was the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's just a different package.
A lot of my products are the same thing with slightly different essential oils in, simply because people don't feel comfortable buying one and doing their sink with it and doing their washing with it and then cleaning their toilet with it. They actually prefer to have ones that with different labels. But people, it's a step forward, right? It's a start, and then people start to realise that actually this product can be used for everything, and it doesn't need to come in 5 different bottles. And I can put whichever essential oil I fancy into my mix in this mix I'm doing. Where you take a teaspoon of your a teaspoon of your soap and put it into a big sprayer, and then you put your essential oils in and top it up with water, and that's it. And that lasts until you need to put another teaspoon's worth in, and then you think, oh, I fancy lavender today,
Yeah.
So,
you said something really interesting in your presentation, Sally, which was about I try and make conscious purchasing choices, but I don't make my own soap and stuff yet. And it's great that people like you do, and people can go to your website, which is eco-vie.co.uk.
yes.
So go to Sally's website, get her amazing everythings. With the brands we buy are things like Ecova and Method and different things like that, and they package themselves as being green. It's called greenwashing, isn't it? It's where you pretend to be green. And I know H&M, the clothing brand, they have this conscious clothing range, which is H&M and Primark. What they basically do is they dump all of the chemicals and the dyes and the stuff into rivers and water sources. And I did a big protest about how the textiles industry is one of the biggest polluters of rivers. It's really, really bad. But you were sharing that actually Ecova and Method and those ones, they're not actually that eco at all.
No, they're not. So the director of Ecova, back I think it was in 2005, I've actually got a link on my website. If you go to the page that says what we don't use and why, scroll down to the bottom and you'll find the link to this interview, which was with the Observer, where he admitted using chemicals back then. And since then it's been sold off to Procter & Gamble, I believe it is Procter & Gamble. So basically almost all of these companies use synthetic plant extracts. Now, synthetic plant extracts are produced by pharmaceutical companies, and we don't know what damage that does into the environment. We don't know how it's been made and what waste products have been produced as a consequence of that. All of this stuff goes in to the system, chemicals and synthetic plant extracts, and they it's then recycled into the system.
Have you seen
because the wastewater system can't extract out these chemicals, and so it gets fed into plants, into fish, up through the cycle and back round again. If you're unlucky and you live somewhere like London, it's recycled up to 7 times, so you can be drinking it over and over again. So Castile soap, you don't have to buy my brand, but Castile soap.
Don't drink tap water anyway.
Do not drink tap water. Do not drink tap water anyway. It's full of.
It's really, really bad. Sally, thank you so much. Everyone, go check out Sally's website. Go make your own soap. Learn how to do that. Let's change the world. Let's change the world with our choices. It's a very powerful thing to do.
Yes, and I do courses at Back to Basics, which is on Telegram. So I do workshops there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm here with Ray Savage, who is the host of our amazing event that we ran, and he also has this incredible campsite at Pleasant Rise Farm, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And thank you so much for letting us use the space. Firstly,
Well, it's my absolute pleasure. I been here for a lot of years. I came here when I was 3.5 from South Africa, and my father really wanted a bit of living the good life, if you like, living self-sustainably, because his parents lost everything that they had in the 1920s, in the 20s slump. In a way, we're in a similar sort of position now. But what he said when we came back was, we're going to get a big piece of land, and we're going to live sustainably, or in that sort of way. And the only land we could find was 18 acres of hill land, which is behind us here, and there was no house on it. So we actually lived off grid for the first 4 years or so of living here, because we couldn't get permission to build a house. We lived off grid, and we had a caravan that we pulled up next to some bullock sheds. Fortunately, there was a well there, and we lived off the well water that we used to have to pump and prime to get the water to come up through the chalk substrate, which now we've replaced with boreholes. So we have our own water here, which is borehole water, which is absolutely fabulous. We had no electricity. We just used gas, bottled gas and candles, and that's the way we lived. We grew around the caravan, because there's quite a few acres here. So I started life in a caravan, living off grid.
that sounds like a wonderful way to start your life.
My mother always used to say it was the most idyllic time of her life, because it was the most simple, and it was the most connected with nature, and it was absolutely great.
Wow.
And it gives me a lot of heart to be able to sort of host something like this, and for people to come and get a taste of being in this beautiful nature. And I think it's something that we all want, and there's enough land on this planet. In fact, I've got a friend called Michael Tellinger who worked out that you could put the whole populace in the area of southern Africa, give everybody half a hectare, and there'd be the rest of the planet free from humanity, if you like. So don't let anybody tell you that we're overpopulated, because that is such extreme elite nonsense.
Yeah, it's such a myth, isn't it?
It is such a myth when you look at the size of
out.
southern Africa. And he worked it out. He's a bright guy. So
I think there's a piece as well around how much people consume at the moment, and if we just got back to basics, and we've really relaxed on, we don't need, I don't need half as much as what I thought I needed before I became conscious.
Do you know, I think one of the extraordinary things that COVID has taught us with lockdown is actually just how little we actually need, and how the most important things are our human interactions with loving, kind people, and being in nature. And in a way, what else do we need? We've got enough just around here to forage. I see the hawthorn tree there. I see the nettles for tea, and I see all the different vetches and things that we can actually eat and ingest. I went on a course once run by a lovely lady who ran a hypothecary in our little village of Alfriston here. And she said, we're going to look at medicinal, and we're going to look at plants that we can eat. We turned off the village square onto a track that had 2 verges, about 18-inch each verge. It took us an hour and a half to go 100 meters down this track, because everywhere you could find something to eat, or something that was medicinal, that could look after all our needs. Our needs are provided. It's we that have been led into materialism and consumerism by that elite group of people that have profited on that, and we've had our eye off the ball. And to me, what we now have to do, and yesterday was a great example of it, is come together and start conceiving a new way that is really stepping aside a lot of the materialism, as you're saying, Luke, we don't need.
And it's just getting back to our innate knowledge as well. One of my friends has a horse and donkey sanctuary, and she says the horses just know exactly what plants they need to go and eat.
Can I tell you a story about there? There was a guy called Hoxie in the late 1800s who was a vet, and he had a horse with cancer that was kept in his stables, and he decided to turn that horse out to die in quite a beautiful natural field. And what he noticed that horse do was go and self-medicate and cure itself, because it had been given the opportunity of being in nature and doing what it knew it had to do. Well, he made a tincture of what the horse was eating and used that tincture on other horses that had cancers as a vet. Then he thought, hang on a minute, I think he had a problem himself, and he used the same tincture on himself, all made from natural herbs that grow naturally, and he started to resolve the problems of major health issues. And then his son, I can't remember his son's name, but there's something called the Hoxsey Report, and you can still find it on the internet. His son actually started to open clinics throughout the States in the early 1900s using this tincture, where they had tremendous success. But what happened? The American Medical Association, in other words, Big Pharma, the Rockefeller Rothschild complex, ran him out of business. They ran him out of the States. They bombed him. They took him on the longest court case out. And he was a tenacious guy, but he kept his clinics, and he's got one of his clinics now in Mexico. And that still uses those same methods. So we don't need the cut, burn, radiate to actually resolve the problems. And I'm not against modern medicine at all, but there's a balance needed, and we've lost that balance. But boy, we're going back there, I know it.
Yeah, I just watched this documentary recently called Thrive 2,
Yep.
and they talk a lot about how you can heal things holistically. And there's a centre out in America, they've healed
in Costa Rica.
They've healed 320 people from cancer, and then they got him done for practicing medicine without a license and put him in prison for years. And he had to go to prison. He couldn't,
Well,
and this is how they try and stifle us, isn't it?
There have been a number of cancer doctors that have been sort of quietly got rid of, who've been doing those things. Look at Tullio Simoncini. He was the guy that worked with bicarbonate of soda. He was injecting bicarb of soda, and he was struck off as one of the top consultants in Italy. And when he tried to come to this country to talk in open ways, people tried to prevent that. But there's so many stories. But we're transcending all of that. And yesterday here, with that amazing conference and gathering of like-minded people, plus 300 I think there were here, all talking about the things that we've been talking about. We've got a momentum, we've got a growth. When you've got to look at the London marches and look at how those are growing, we've got a wave of change going on in this country, and I feel so enthusiastic about the future.
We were having a little joke, but it could happen. We were talking about venues for like future events in different places. We're going to do these events all over the country.
Yeah, they're in being.
We are. We're making it happen, and there's a lot of interest in Newcastle. So we're thinking about St James's Park. It's like 60,000. This football stadium.
That sounds good to me.
One of the next venues. Ray, thank you so much. I know one of the other things you talk about a lot is holistic health, and you have this amazing company that provides products to help people heal, and you have these healing pods and stuff.
A lot of people have heard the term med beds, but on the farm here we have something called a plasma pod, and that works really. I'm not the scientist. We've got some amazing nuclear scientists that have actually put that technology together. And it looks quite Star Trek-y, the latest incarnation of that, or latest iteration of that. But what it seems to do is pull source energy to a point where that can be emanated, and we can sit in this pod and just receive, if you like, the blessing of source energy and get well. And these guys are producing some amazing stuff. So if you need to know more about that, then the website is, can I give a plug?
Please.
Is My Life. The 3 W's, mylifeforceenergy.com.
Nice.
And if you look that up, and the setup is called the Orinoco, after the river. It's just beautiful, and it's amazing. And someone after last night's celebrations had a bit of a headache, sat in the pod and just came out feeling so good, and that's just a bit of fun.
That's how you're going to sell it to the masses. The best hangover cure.
Yeah. Oh, Luke, I'm so grateful to you, and we met in Manchester, and we had a great 1-2 there, and we can talk for ages about this. But just to put a bit of perspective in this, I'm a former cop, and I joined the police in the 60s, and I policed until the 80s. And my background was in coppering, was intelligence and counterterrorism. And boy, I saw some things that I'm not going to talk about on this piece, but we're transcending all of that dark stuff, if you like. The light is in control now, and the light is about nature. It is about living off grid, living naturally, living in a thriving way. So, bless you for what you're doing.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I have a very strong connection to I call it source
Yeah.
and my guides, and they tell me I don't have to worry in this lifetime. I can be as open as I want, and
Yeah.
and I encourage people to do that. And,
Yeah.
and if my time on this planet ends, that's not a bad thing, you know.
Well, we know that this
It's gonna have
mortal
the most
coil
fun.
is far more temporary than the place we've come from and the place that we'll go to.
Exactly.
And maybe we'll come back here or whatever. But while we're here, and I think we're going to be living a lot longer with technologies like the pods and like the med beds and those sorts of things. We're going to be living a lot more healthily and more naturally.
I tell my wife I'm going to live to be 500. So
yeah, well, I'm going to join you.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit ahead of you, but I'm going to join you. And look at that lovely sight up there with the horses going by.
Fantastic, Ray. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great.
Absolute pleasure.
Great. Yeah. All the best here. Yeah. Thank you.
It's been such a fantastic time, and we managed to get some footage of the different events and talks and workshops. So I'm going to share some of the highlights with you, just some snippets so you can get a feel for what it's like. And I hope you can join us for one of our future events coming up really, really soon.
Thank you so much for inviting us down. Thank you so much for having us. It's been an amazing day. It's been an amazing year. It's been an amazing everything. Thank you for all the support as well, for the light paper and everything else that we do. We'll just continue to keep doing it because it's working. It's working. It's weeks and months and all the rest of it of work, and then you go out and see a supermarket full of muzzles. But it does make a difference. All the stuff that we do, every little thing makes a difference, and we should all carry on. So certainly be proud of ourselves. And the thing for me is, I won't stop. There's no. Oh, well, we'll give up now. There's no stopping it. So you're dead, isn't it? Because this is the future. This is real. It's not a Hollywood movie. We're real. But you know what? The way to do it is doing what we're doing. It's not necessarily. It's great to get together and do everything in London and stuff. But what we do is build the new outside of their nonsense. We have to show people the way. So that's all our work as well. Okay, I'm going to sing a song called Gates of Jericho. I wrote it around the time of Barton Moss back in 2014. Still nice and relevant, which is handy for me. I don't have to write new songs. Play with your mind ever since you open your eyes. Don't you know you're hypnotized into seeing what they want you to see? Do you know who you really are? What you want, what you even doing here in this time and place? Why the hell's this human race? We're a soul from a body. Don't let nobody tell you different. They just wanna control you and me. Gotta be the only authority. Nothing will go wrong. Fix what's broken. Long as I am standing here with you. Feeling full of fear, but none of it is right here, right now, out loud. So why do you pay it any attention? All we lack is imagine. The dream of corporations, nothing to do with your aspirations. You live in someone else's life, oh why? Don't you wanna live your own? Pick it up as you go along like you used to. Let go of the sides, swim on right through. Nothing will go wrong. Fix what's broken. Long as I am standing here with you. They will hear our song. Hearts will open. Long as every word we sing is true. Hard as it may be to believe there is evil in this world and it's hidden right in front of you. Those who make the rules are the real criminals and the enemies of humanity. And it's time you knew that everything we've been told is a great big lie. Don't be afraid to die. It's not the end. Everything is his, you see, and it'll always be here that you and me. Nothing will fix what's broken. Long as I am standing here with you, they will hear our song, hearts will open. Long as every word we sing is true, everything gonna be alright. No, they won't sail these family wars. We'll be here every day and night. Those that fall. Truth is that everyone's got a reason to be here. So gather all your doubts and fears and throw them in the ocean. It's where they belong. Can't go wrong if you stick to what your heart needs. Sow the real seeds and reflect your true self back into the world. Remember what you came for. Don't keep your light hidden anymore. Nothing will go wrong. Fix what's broken. Unless I am standing here with you, they will hear our song. Hearts will open. Unless every word we sing is true, nothing will go wrong. We'll fix what's broken. Unless I am standing here with you, they will hear our song. Hearts will open. Unless every word we sing is true, every word we sing is true. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm here with Rachel, who's one of the amazing people at the event, and she's been helping run workshops and teach people about things like foraging, bushcraft, survival skills, homeschooling, and is part of an amazing project which helps people Skillshare within communities. So we're talking about how people can build great communities, how they can come out of the system. What things do you think are really important for people to know and put some time into learning?
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel the importance of learning survival skills and basic skills such as foraging and how to survive in the woods. I think without getting too depressing, we have to think about all the possible eventualities of this current situation. So and they're just really useful skills anyway, how you would survive in the woods. So making a fire, setting up your camp, being very efficient with your kit, for example, and then foraging your own food. So really knowing how to get your carbohydrates and protein and fat. And so we've been digging up roots and foraging salads. Quite important.
I think one of the really important things from my perspective is having a plan in place in case the government decide to turn off the food supply, the water supply. They recently in America they started having gasoline shortages, and in other countries like in Myanmar, when there was this overthrow of the government, they turned off the internet, they turned off the phones. I think people are very underprepared. Even if the supermarket's closed for a week, I think most people would be really struggling.
So I'm in an online Telegram group where we discuss this and share ideas, like obviously stockpiling and how to heat your house without central heating, things like that. Still discovering more things and trying to connect with more people who are taking really serious measures to prepare for this. I think it's finding a group, and what we're doing actually is running skills workshops. So we're trying to give everyone these basic skills, a sort of 2-hour workshop, and we're using people within our community to teach the skills, and then people can learn them. And
it's fantastic. The schooling system we have at the moment is antiquated and is just made to brainwash kids And the college system, the university system, like I went through 4 years of university. It was useless, absolutely useless. I studied entrepreneurship, and at the end of it, I had no idea how to run a business. None of my teachers had ever ran businesses. But if it was something like actually meeting people who actually had businesses, I would probably learn more in 2 hours than I learned in 2 years in that place. And so I think what you're saying is amazing, because when we're building our eco village, we want to look at who has farming skills, who is great at building stuff, who is amazing at healing, you know. We want all these different things. Most people have no idea, right?
Yeah, so I think we've got to network and know that we can find within our community people that can really competently fulfill these tasks. But also I think we all need some basic skills as well, if we can't access those immediately. And then with children, obviously, I'm very pro learning skills, these kind of skills. So I'm trying to connect as much with people as I can on that. And just, yes, it's far better for them to be out of school and experiencing everyday life and, as close to nature as possible. But
it's such a big movement at the moment because of what's happening with the mask mandates in schools and everything else. And I know it seems to some people like this is a bad thing, and it is in lots of ways, but more people have taken their kids out of school in the last year than in the last, I don't know how many years. It's really forcing people to pay more attention. And I think that's beautiful. So I've seen the interest in forest schooling and homeschooling, especially when the lockdown happened. Parents had no choice but to homeschool.
Exactly, they did
and that was terrifying for so many of the parents I know. They had no idea what to do. So I think it's beautiful. How do people get in touch if they want to learn more about any of that kind of stuff?
There are, there are various homeschooling, quite local Telegram groups. There are Facebook pages normally for homeschooling in your area. Definitely worth writing a message saying you're interested in it, seeing if you can meet up with some people and find out about it.
I joined an amazing one recently. It was called Freedom Education, and I was surprised because I went in there and it had a list of even my local city. It had it like homeschooling for them, and I sent it to my cousin who's in another city, and I said, look, check this out. And it was a group of like 200 parents, all from the same place, even just it was a small place. I was so pleasantly surprised at how many of these groups there are out there. I know what you do as well is Back to Basics, isn't it? The program that you have. And if you want to get in touch with Rachel, her email address is rachel@gardenofnutrition.com.
Yeah, that's it.
So if you're interested in any of that stuff, contact Rachel. What we're doing here at this event is we're just bringing together people who have knowledge with people who want to learn, and it's super, super easy. It's very difficult to make someone learn something if they don't want to, and what we're inviting people to do is we're just piquing their curiosity. Hopefully they'll explore it more. You know, if you want to learn how to do all of this stuff, it's going to take some commitment. You're going to have to put some sweat and love into it, and time and effort and energy.
This is a numbers game. We need the people to wake up and seize back power, because we have a window of opportunity. The next lockdown will be until further notice, which basically means forever. And people go, oh my God, don't say that. But the whole point is I can't tell you anything otherwise. I can't kid to you. They have a plan to keep postponing the next lockdown until people get so used to being in lockdown they just stop defying it and they stop protesting it, and their draconian laws will just get worse and worse and worse. Anyway, but we're here to put a stop to all of that, aren't we? Right, so trickery. Now, it's something that I hinted at before in my little mini speech before. Trickery. You may have, who's heard of the birth certificate or birth name fraud or birth name, Who's heard of that? Put your hands up. All right, a lot of you. I prefer to call it the birth name deception. It's not something to get too hung up about, because you can benefit from your birth certificated name. You can claim benefits, okay? So it's not something to disown completely. It's just something to be aware of. Now, if you ally that to schooling, when you go to school, what do? They get you to respond to registration, don't they? They get you used to the idea that you are not just a first name, you are a first name and a surname, a composite name. That composite name is what was created by the government. And the universal principle states that whatever I create, I own. So, since the government created your name, guess who owns the name? The government. So when you are asked a question like, is your name Mrs. Sally Smith or Mr. Peter Jones? And you say, yes, you've been tricked. And when you are tricked, you are vulnerable to attack. Also, because your super consciousness knows that you're living a lie, what energetically happens to people who are living a lie? They get depleted. So if you're living a lie, even a benevolent lie, because we're all living this benevolent lie, except the ones who are waking up, then your energy is depleted, your immune system is suppressed, and they can get you with chemtrails, with fear porn, with all kinds of nonsense, letters in the post that say you are required by law, because we become vulnerable. When we're living a lie, we become vulnerable. So the birth certificated name is something to be aware of, not something to be frightened of, but something to be aware of. If you disown it, then you're coming out of the system, which may be good if you're going off-grid, but maybe not so good if you need benefits from the system. That's a contextual issue for you, and that's an individual case-by-case basis. So that is the deception. Now, fast forward to your adult life. Once you've been at school and you've got used to being called the full name, and you not only do you own it, but you are it. Are you Miss Sally Jones or Mr. Peter Smith? Yes, I am. Now, for those of you who know about spiritual truth or the truth of the universe, what you say you are, what I say I am, is my truth. But I can't be, how can I be the name on a piece of paper? Because your birth certificated name is the name on a piece of paper. How can I be David Edelman? I am a man. I can see other men, women, boys and girls, but I don't see any pieces of paper here. So when you say that you own the name, is your name Mrs. Sally Jones? Yes, it is. Or are you Mrs. Sally Jones? You're living a lie and you're falling for the trick. Now, I don't have time to go into what the implications of that is or are, but I just want you to just take that on board. If you want to know more, then have a look at the YouTube channel or BitChute channel for the People's Lawyer, and videos will take you further down that road.
We are, this is an educational event, so we're all entitled to be here, and we're going to have a good time. Also, I'd like to welcome and say thank you to all the people that have travelled far. So this is the Freedom Network, okay? This is UpRise and Shine, our first conference with the UpRise and Shine, but our second Freedom Conference, because the first one was in collaboration with Future Proof Generations, and this is Luke, who is running that, so thank you to Luke, and all the guys that have come down with Luke. And we're also supported by, anybody heard of The Light newspaper? Well, here's the man, Darren. Stand up, Darren. So Darren's brought his guitar, so we might sing along with Darren when the music kicks off.
If you have an instrument, if you have a drum, if you have a tambourine, if you have something you want to bang, if you have a voice, you can sing along to this one. I'll bugger off the stage and let other people go. You can stick in a world order up your ass. You can stick in a world order up your ass. You can stick in a world order where the sun don't shine, but ought to stick your new world order up your ass. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90 Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. The Queen will be arrested in a dressing gown. Queen will be arrested in a dressing gown. Queen will be arrested in a, cause she is such a sinner. Be arrested in a dressing gown. Stick your corporation up your arse. You can stick your corporation up your arse. You can stick your corporation. We're a free and sovereign nation. Stick your corporation up your arse. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails and their evil plan fails. Blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. You can stick your mainstream media up your arse. You can stick your mainstream media up your arse. You can stick your mainstream media, cause the people we don't need ya. Stick your mainstream media up your arse. Singing we are the 99%. Come on! Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. You can stick your poison vaccines up your arse. You can stick your poison vaccines up your arse. You can stick your poison vaccines, cause they cause all the disease. Stick your poison vaccines up your arse. And you can stick your vaccine passports up your arse. You can stick your vaccine passports up your arse. You can stick your vaccine passports. We'll see you in the High Court. Stick your vaccine passports up your arse. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. You can stick your fracking drilling up your arse. And you can stick your TV programs up your arse. You can stick your GMO foods, and we ain't gonna go school. Stick your Georgia Guidestones up your arse. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human. And don't you know that you can rather be a human than a slave? I'm singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. And you can stick your New World Order up your arse. You can stick your New World Order up your arse. You can stick your New World Order when the sun don't shine but water. Stick your New World Order up your arse. You can stick your great reset up your arse. You can stick your great reset up your arse. You can stick your great reset, cause the people they don't know yet. Stick your great reset up your arse. And You can stick the 5G tower up your arse. You can stick your 5G tower up your arse. You can stick your 5G tower. Give the Matrix so much power. Stick your 5G tower up your arse. Singing we are the 19%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. Watch out for the. This is probably the last time you'll see it. Actually, I've had a band tonight, but we've just put a band together as well called the Daznez Band. We're playing at Glastonbury June the 12th there's a protest on June the 12th. We're playing up at the Manifest Festival up in Lancaster on June the 24th. And we've also, we're hopefully playing the V-Stock Festival when that comes, and some other as well. So look out for us. Daznez, thank you very much.
Okay, so that's my thank yous. So the Freedom Network, we set it up, I think, November last year, and it was basically, my name's Karen, by the way, for those of you that don't know me, Karen Dodds. I'm the founder of the Freedom Network, and I set it up last year with lots of support from people, Paul, and there's lots of you around. Basically because there is a need, I saw the need initially to meet each other in person. And the way to do that was obviously to find each other. So just by simply setting up a website where people could go on, type in their local town and contact whoever has set up a hub in that local town, then people could find each other. It's a simple philosophy. And it's worked really well. We've got over 300 hubs now across the UK and beyond. So we've got them in Australia, America, Israel. We've got them all over the place. And it's also a good thing, because we're all hopefully of the like-minded here, you know, we are here for a purpose, not just today, but those of you who are here, you know we've got work to do. We've chosen to be here at a higher level. So I always suggest when you're out and about, if you're travelling or whatever, go onto the website and type in where you're going on holiday for a visit and contact the hub where you're going and make friends, network with other people. They are so welcoming. I've done it a couple of times myself. I was in the Isle of Wight last week and I went to their group meeting. So it's a really nice way of networking with other people and seeing what hubs are doing. So the basis of the hub, as I say, is just, or the Freedom Network, is to meet people, to gather together. But on the back of that, things are evolving. So I never had an ulterior motive other than to group people together, but you can see things are working. So we've got this conference and we're going to run these all over the country where there's a demand. But what I actually do want to do today is sell something to you. And it's something that is remarkable and beautiful, exceptional, and it's incredibly powerful. Does anybody know what I'm selling to you?
Freedom.
Kind of, yeah, part of.
Love.
Nearly. Anything else? Connection, that's a good one, nearly. What was that one, Jane? Nearly. There's lots of it for sale here. Okay, this might help you. Because first of all, I want to say there is no illusion greater than fear. There is no illusion greater than fear. So I'm just going to read you this. Some of you, I'm sure, are going to be familiar with this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in every one of us, every one of you. That's what I'm selling. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So that's what I'm saying to you, yourselves. The power that you have as we are raising our vibration, our consciousness. We are at a war here. It's a spiritual war, and those of you in the room are aware of that. So it's up to us to raise the planet as we ascend to the new paradigm. Anybody know who said that? Yeah, well done. Marianne Williamson, who I had the pleasure to meet in a toilet once. She's a very nice lady. Okay, so that's kind of me done. There's the last thing I'm just going to ask you to do. This is the hardest thing for you to do, and I don't know if you're going to hear my track here, but I'm going to ask you to uprise. So can you all kindly just stand up for a moment? Okay, thank you. And I'm going to put a track on, but you might not hear it because it's just from my very basic speaker. So as you're standing, this is lovely, just root yourself into the ground. Just say, ground yourself into the earth. Really feel the connection of the earth. You might hear it. Can you hear this in the back of the music? Yeah? No? Okay. And then my invitation is for you to just close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. And just take a really deep breath in through the nose. Follow the breath down through your lower belly. Exhaling through the nose. And continuing to ground. Just listen to the words. I hope you'll hear. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you, me is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. And with your eyes closed, if you can continue to feel comfortable, just connect with the mental aspect of your being, the thoughts that you may have, the good thoughts, the bad thoughts. Connect with your emotional body, feelings that you have of joy, maybe depression at times, the happiness that you feel, and sometimes the sadness. Let the water wash away your tears. Let the fire burn away your fears. Let the wind blow into your life such faith and trust. Oh, let the earth hold you, take care of you, and nurture you. Oh, the power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. So now just connect with the spiritual aspect of your being, your higher self. Just knowing that connection is also connected with every other being in this room, or outside the room, on the planet. As we are all one, we are connecting with consciousness itself. And then connecting with your physical being. And my invitation now is to open your eyes and maybe just connect with your physical body, looking around you, perhaps connecting with a person next to you physically, maybe reaching out. Maybe just holding hands, if I see, or shoulder to shoulder. Because this is you, the power of love, which is our way through this, is through love. Let the wind blow into your life, such faith and trust. Oh, let the earth hold you, take care of you, and nurture you. Is here now, sing
is here now. The power of love is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. So there you have it, an absolutely fantastic, incredible experience here, teaching people everything that they need so they can be future-proof, so they can live off-grid, so they can build great communities, so they can be happier and healthier. And people just seem so hungry for this knowledge. People really want to learn how to take their life to the next level, and it's just such a pleasure to be around these people who are so high vibe, and everyone's so excited, and it doesn't matter what craziness is happening in the world, you create your reality. And I think that's the core thing, just to really impress upon you and to share with you, is that you are so powerful, and whatever you want to do, it's available to you. You just have to go and find the people and the skills and the resources to make it happen. I think we're here to be creators. I think we're here to express as powerful manifestors and take those dreams and make them into realities. And I really believe this life is just like a big game. It's like a big movie, and we're here to enjoy it, to be in joy, to just live and express our fullest self. And this is where I'm being guided. I want to be surrounded by people like this all the time. I want to live in a community where people care about each other. I want my daughter to grow up in a world where she sees real, genuine connections, and she sees people fulfilling their dreams, and she sees people speaking their truth. And if that sounds good to you, please get in touch. We're going to be building these vegan eco villages all around the world. There's lots of other eco villages, and we're part of quite big projects. So if you want to get in touch, you can go to my website. It's www.lukescottofficial.com. Or you can drop me an email at info@lukescottofficial.com if you want to do that way as well. We also have our Telegram group, which is the Truth Speakers Network. You go to telegram.me/Truth Speakers Network, and you can find us there. Thank you so much for listening and for sharing this. And if you know anyone who could be a good fit for this and could use this information, please pass it on. And if you know any venues where we can host these future festivals, then please do let us know. We're getting up to the big numbers now. We think we can easily do 1,000 for the next one. Easy. And then we've got our sights on some kind of Glastonbury style 200,000 people festival in the very near future. So it's really, really exciting. And I guess I'll just leave you with this. Whatever you need, people, resources, it's there for you. It's there for you. Get creative and put yourself out there. And Noura, my beautiful daughter, has just come to the camera to say hi. She's 11 months old. If you're watching this video on the YouTube channel, you'll be able to see it. Noura, what do you want to say to all of the people who are listening, who are thinking about living their best life? What do you want to say? Can you say ba 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 ba?
Baba.
Baba, there you go. You heard it first. Now you know the secret to having a truly happy life.
Abba.
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 Wow. The microphone, it's not for eating, Baba. It's not for eating, Baba. I know, it looks tasty, doesn't it? It looks kind of like it could be a sweet. That's what we say for food. You can't eat it.